we'll be talking about Parsifal and Parsival's story. So let's get right into it. I'm a little sick right now, so I know it might be a little raspy, but my bad, dogs. Parsival's story. An innocent young man raised by his overly protective mother in poverty, knowing nothing of his dead father, who himself was a knight. Without any direction or schooling, he is dazzled one day by the appearance of a group of knights who visit his village, and to his mother's dismay, decides with all the bluster of youth to seek them out to become a knight himself. She agrees to let him go, but gives him a homespun garment that he elects to wear for much of his life. This garment represents the mother complex in psychology and will prove costly to Parsifal in his development. Parsifal finds and enters Arthur's court, but is initially ridiculed and expelled. However, legend held that a damsel in Arthur's court who had not smiled for years would burst into laughter at the sight of the greatest knight, which she did at the sight of innocent Parsifal. The court immediately held Parsifal in high regard, and Arthur knighted him on the spot. Parsifal, naive and not burdened with fear and anxiety, seeks out the most fearsome knight of all, the Red Knight, a warrior so fierce he had never been defeated. Parsifal, in his earnest, confronts him and asks him for his horse and armor. Laughing, he agrees, but only if Parsifal can take it. Predictably, Parsifal is knocked to the ground by the powerful knight, but as he fell, Parsifal throws his dagger into the Red Knight's eyes, killing him. This victory represents the integration of the shadow side of masculinity, the negative, potentially destructive power. He must not repress his aggressiveness, since he needs the masculine power of his Red Knight shadow to make his way through the mature world. The newly empowered knight goes out seeking battle and adventure, rescuing maidens and defeating opponents, but not killing them. Any knight Parsifal overcame, he instead instructed to join Arthur's court and swear allegiance to him. The first encounter with the Fisher King. One day, along his heroic quest, Parsifal sought lodging, but was told there was no place to stay for miles. He then encountered a man fishing in a boat on a lake, and asked if he knows of any place to stay for the night. The fisherman, or known as the Fisher King, tells him to go down the road a little bit and go the left. Parsifal obliges and suddenly finds himself on the ground of a Grail castle. Windows gleaming, knights and ladies greeting him, the splendor of which he had never dreamed of in his life. A great ceremony was about to begin, one which occurred every evening. A great feast and celebration was held, where maidens brought out to all assembled the Holy Grail, from which all would partake, immediately granting them whatever they desire. Everyone, that is, except for the Fisher King. Because of his agonizing wound, he was unable to drink from the Grail, and his affliction continued to wreak havoc across the kingdom. During his quest, Parsifal had encountered a mentor, Garnamon, who had instructed him in the way of knighthood. When encountering the Holy Grail, Garnamon instructed Parsifal to ask an important question: whom does the Grail serve? This was a question that would heal the Grail King's wounds. However, his mother had also told him not to answer too many questions, and hers was the advice Parsifal needed this time in the Great Hall. All assembled knew the prophecy that one day an innocent fool would enter the castle and ask the question that would heal the king, all except Parsifal, and very quickly the ceremony ends with everyone retiring for the night. The next morning, Parsifal rides out and the Grail Castle disappears. The wasteland? This loss tormented Parsifal, and it would take years of grueling, rigorous battles and quests before Parsifal realized that the homespun garment that he wore beneath his armor, the psychological symbol of Mother Complex, had to be removed before he could partake of the Grail and heal the Fisher King. Parsifal spent 20 years earning his way back to the Grail Castle. They are difficult years, however, and he grows in bitterness and disillusionment. These represent the difficult years of middle age, where one begins to question one's very existence and the choices made. After 20 years of searching in vain for what was lost in his first encounter at the Grail Castle, Parsifal had his arrogance and pride beaten and humbled. One day, along his latest quest, he is introduced to a forest hermit. At first, the hermit scolds him for his failures, especially for not asking the question when he first encountered the Fisher King. However, he soon softens, sympathizing with Parsifal and then inviting him to go down the road a bit and go to the left, returning to the Grail Castle. Again, Parsifal suddenly finds himself on the grounds of the Grail Castle. This time, however, with 20 long years of earning experience and humility, again he finds himself in the midst of a great feast and celebration where the maiden brought out the Holy Grail for all to partake. This time, however, Parsifal asks the question, whom does the Grail serve? The simple act of asking the question immediately heals the Grail King, and the entire castle erupts in celebration. What is the answer to the question? You, my lord, the Grail King. And what exactly does this answer mean? Very simple. We serve something far greater than ourselves. Carl Jung, the great philosophist, would say that by asking this question, one comes to the realization that the echo now comes into service of the self. The goal of life is not merely to attain personal happiness, rather it to serve the Grail, that is, to live a life not of ego, but of our most authentic nature, our soul. As Robert A. Johnson said, one not pursue happiness. If he does, he obscures it. If he will proceed with the human tasks of life, the recollection of the center of gravity of a personality to something greater outside itself, happiness will be the outcome. Alright guys, hope you guys enjoyed that one. That was the story of Parsifal. Hope you guys enjoyed. And if you guys have any recommendation videos, just let me know down below. I know my voice is a little messed up. I'm just getting over a cold. I love y'all. Thank you guys for showing all love and support on this channel. I love you. Every single one of you guys on the other side of the screen. Appreciate every single one of you. Like I said, if you want any if you have any recommendation videos or anything like that, just let me know down below. I love y'all. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next video.